the input of Prior's Court has allowed us to be more of a family when Shaun's home now, like. Rather than in Shaun's home, we're having to lock down now and it's all about Shaun. You know, we can't go out in the car and we'll go places. We can go down the beach and stuff, albeit when it's a bit quieter. And it's fine, like. Whereas before that was always a struggle, like. Shaun's been diagnosed with severe autism, and he's quite high on the spectrum, like, you know. Shaun's oldest brother is Ben. He's got Down syndrome, and he's got I suppose, quite severe learning difficulties as well, you know what I mean. His middle brother Liam, who's, you know, I suppose okay if you like. It probably impacted more on Liam, I would say, than say Ben, because you're spending more time with Ben and Shaun than say you were with Liam, like, you know what I mean? So he kind of, because he got on and managed his own stuff, if you like, you kind of parked him and concentrated on the other two, which is not really acceptable, but it's what had to be, it's what you had to do at the time, you know. Going out was difficult to go out all together. Because, you know, for instance, when Shaun was younger, if something spooked him, he'd run off. I could catch him then. I probably can't catch him now, you know what I mean? But yeah, so you were constantly watching the whole time, and you had to go out at specific times, if you like, when you knew it was going to be quiet, just in case, you know, there was problems and stuff, you know. He had a very limited amount of, say, a certain foods he would eat. And he would just eat them and nothing else, like, you know what I mean? But, you know, you were having to do a specific meal for Shaun because you knew that's all he would eat, like. Where you're making another meal for the rest of us. You're not understanding what he wants, if you like. You're trying to, you know, second guess the whole time. But why, you know, sometimes he would do something for what we could see no reason, like. And you go, well, why has he done that? We don't know, you know. He couldn't communicate that, like, you know what I mean? People don't, and people will never understand, they'll never understand, you know, the impact it has on your life. It's a terrible decision to make. I mean, it's not a decision you really want to take lightly, and it's not a decision really you should have to make, like, you know what I mean? It should be, you know, your kids make their own decisions, like, you know. But because you're their voice, you then have to make them difficult decisions, like, you know. And it was a tough decision to make, you know. But going forward, gets me every time, that, like. Going forward, I think it was the right decision, like, you know what I mean? To say Shaun now. And I don't think he'd be where he is now if it wasn't for Prior's Court, like. You know, you say, right, we want him to go there, and then you have to go through the process of it being approved by the local authorities, lots of paperwork, lots of phone calls, lots of meetings, and you have to fight. You can't just let it lie, you have to fight them and go, this is what we want, like, this is in his best interest, like. So eventually, you know, we got the go-ahead for Shaun to go to Prior's Court, which was like a huge relief and a massive burden taken off your shoulders, like, you know what I mean? Because there's a constant worry that, you know, it's not going to happen. They put stumbling blocks in all the time, which I can understand, because, you know, they've got a finite amount of finances, you know, and you don't want to take them all. But what you want to do is what's best for your child and your child's future, like. Since he's been there, you know, obviously he's quite sociable, like, but you know, he's learned things, you know, simple things like he'll load the dishwasher, or he'll take stuff out the dishwasher, he'll put things away and stuff like that. If there's washing to do, he'll put some washing in the washing machine, you know what I mean? He helps out and does things like that, you know. He's learning stuff at Prior's Court, which obviously or life skills now, if you like, you know what I mean, to, you know, help him move on to the next transition and stuff, you know. He works in the bakery on occasions, he helps out in the laundry and stuff like that, you know. All the stuff he would have probably never done if he hadn't been at Prior's Court, like, I mean. There's only a limited amount of stuff you can do as a parent, if you like, and you put as much input into it as possible, like, you know. But, you know, when you're busy looking after, you know, obviously he's two brothers as well. You've always wanted them to eventually have some form of independent type living as such, you know, because, like, you know, most kids when they get to an age, they do move out of home and have their own places, like, you know what I mean. You know, that's always been, you know, a strong focus for that, like, you know what I mean. To try to, you know, do something in the community, if you like, have some sort of work programme, things like that. That's always been one of our aims, like. It's a lot closer now with Prior's Court's help, because you can see the things he does, and you notice a change even still now when he comes home. Certain things he kind of does, and you think, oh, you know what I mean, he's doing that now, like, you know what I mean. And so there's still different things that you're noticing, like, you know. Now when he's home, you're not worrying about a lot of things, you know, oh, is this going to happen or is that going to happen? Because it doesn't now, like, I mean, he still has a few wobbly bits. If, you know, if he's not happy with something, but then that's what it is, you know what I mean? You know, we'll go, right, come on, Shaun, we'll go and do something else, you know what I mean? And whereas before, if he was having a wobbly bit, it would be 3 or 4 hours, like, and it's stressful on Shaun, you know. You know, he'd be headbutting doors, headbutting the floor, slapping himself, you know. There's none of that now, like, you know what I mean? And that's all down to Prior's Court. The staff at Prior's Court, I can't speak highly enough of, like. Very professional, dedicated people. You know, it's a tough job to do, you know. Tough job, you know. And, you know, they're all, every time I'm up there, they're friendly, they're always happy and smiling. There's, you know, even if someone's having a little bit of a, you know, a moment or whatever, it's always calm, like. It's never like, it's not a panic, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think they're fabulous, like. You know, how they've worked them out is brilliant, like, I think, you know what I mean? And they've worked them out, like, I mean. They've unravelled the puzzle of Shaun, I think, you know? I'd like to stay there forever, to be fair, you know what I mean? I know it's, you know, it's impossible. And sadly we'll have to leave, and I think that'll be a major trauma in Shaun's life personally, like, I mean, and in ours, because we then have to find somewhere that's, if you like, as good, if not better, but you're not going to find anywhere better as far as I'm concerned, you know, so you're going to have to take as good, I'm afraid.